Now, I'm gonna try something completely different today. That for a simple reason that I want to talk about old cartoons that sort of have been forgotten. Especially not the most popular ones, because the most popular ones I think, for example, like Danny Phantom or My Life in Teenage Robot, is super well known and lasted good 3 seasons. But I want to talk about the cartoons that it really wasn't that popular, but they wasn't well made or very bad on less than 1 season or two. Those are the shows I want to talk about, especially this segment I called Forgotten Cartoon sort of question mark, because honestly, there are a lot of cartoons that you really never heard of, and you finally seen them what they are, you'll be surprised how good they are or how really bad. It's something that you'd be shocked, like, why was this a thing? Of course, this rule could easily be broken if a cartoon is very popular, but never landed inside United States. One of the big examples is Detention Air. It lasted 4 seasons. It was popular enough to have all four, but not popular enough to out of Canada, like United States or Mexico or France. Never heard of Detention Air. So you get the idea that the type of shows I will talk about. If this segment actually works, if you like this video, I'll probably make more, like once a month or maybe 2 months I make another video. Depends if this video was popular. If you like this, put a like or subscribe if you want to see more of this type of videos, especially comment. In fact, I think let's get started. If you never heard of a show called Detention, this is a show was back in the 90s, between the 2000s and the 90s. In fact, it was exactly 1999. They were presenting on a Samurai cartoon called Warner Brother Kids show that's basically represent this in that time period. But the reason why this show kind of failed, if for one simple reason, is basically bad timing. Because during this time, it was the hype of anime and the hype of DC superheroes. Those two types of different animations were really clashing back and forth to grab your attention back in time, because there was great animation both sides, DC and anime, because both of them were very entertaining and very unique approaches. So the question is, okay, you have two titans taking it out. You would think the tension were fit in between, right? Unfortunately, no. But interesting enough, Warner Brother Kids knew they had something special, because they would not stop promoting this series. Like, they try everything they can, keep promoting and promoting. I remember pretty well, they tried to convince you to watch it inside the trailers, the bumpers, they seem reappeared. Don't forget what Detention Air, because the show was actually kind of unique. The question is, what is Detention Air? And in fact, it actually interests you. Well, Detention, to describe it, think of it sort of like Recess or The Weekenders, because they fit in between those type of shows. A bunch of kids who go into detention. But I love it is how they go into detention, because they show you two different plots. A plot is with the boys, a B plot with the girls, and how they daily lives, how they kind of smash their heads together. Because the whole show is basically about chemistry of all the classmates, how they're so different, what they're trying to do their homework, and sometimes just clash because of different ideas. But in between this, at the end of the day, they accidentally piss off the teacher and break some rules because they're trying to accomplish something, and they get caught and go straight to detention. Every single episode is exactly like that. But the fact is sort of interesting is the fact is the simulcast, that everyone contributes something very unique, but at the same time each character, it's a sort of, you could say, stereotype, a sort of character, but given layers over the season. The fact they only have 30 episodes, so they try everything they can to convince you to watch it, but at the end it was, in my opinion, semi-successful, because you see they had actually a good idea. It just needed more time, but unfortunately, it just wasn't the wrong place. If it was basically not in Warner Brothers Saturday cartoons, maybe in Cartoon Network, it could probably get a more bigger fan following and people get more interested. Now, I tell you, the whole cast, it does have a main character in the group. That one who actually stands out the most will be Sabrina, the goth girl who is a lot of sass. But you love it that she's not the kind of like Daria or kind of Raymond for Teen Titans Go. So like kind of mute, like oh my god. So no, she has personality. She's not kind of generic goth girl. She is a character. In fact, how to describe her, especially my queen. She has so much sass, so much personality. She's sort of a demon, especially how the animation kind of complements her character design, how she smiles, how she plans, how to one up the other classmates, because she is basically the central jewel of the whole group. She basically kind of not every single episode, but she does push the story along. But at the same time, you cannot hate this character because she is so sassy, so entertaining. I mean, I love this character, especially her relation with the other classmates like Kelly. Kelly, she is a Girl Scout member who go into detention for no other reason that help to her teacher, Miss Kakilia. But Kelly is how the describe her like a pet with the teacher. She's basically the teacher's pet, but I love it her chemistry with Sabrina. Kelly is to describe her a good little girl. I mean, very loyal, very honest, very peppy. I mean, really peppy. The point is sort of kind of like a Brady Bunch character. She's like, golly gee, boys. Oh, really, nilly. That kind of cheery, peppy kind of thing. You think you hate her, but luckily you have Sabrina sort of kind of balance her out. Also with Kelly balancing out Sabrina, how so different they are, and also how their relationship works so well because Kelly really wants to fit in her classmates because she feels a tad lonely in how she is completely different. That's why I enjoy that they have very a unique friendship. Both of them sort of not both of them don't hate each other. Just Sabrina hates Kelly, but Kelly loves Sabrina like a friend. She wants to be her friend. She's that kind of girl is basically desperate, but you like her being desperate. Try anything to sort of click on to everybody else. You like that sort of relationship. You also have other characters like Gug, who basically is the only Latino character in the group, and kind of surprising. One of the most interesting one because Gug is basically kind of the angry Latino character, and you think this sort of a stereotype. You guys should be pissed because I'm Latino, but in a way I'm not because Gug is actually the reason why he's sort of angry, why he's sort of kind of stereotyped to be sort of macho, all this toughness. But at the end, he has a legitimately good reason because people don't take him seriously because he's the shortest one. No one cares about him, so he had to stand out and kind of like be mean, something to recognize his own being. What's more, that was sort of interesting. On top of that, her relationship with Sabrina and Gug also have this sort of rivalry in a way. They didn't have enough time to develop that rivalry, but at the end, that was sort of interesting also. You also have other characters like the twins, who played are basically typical twins, but make it different and interesting how they are talented and kind of devious like the rest of the class. They are like to hack things or manipulate things. They were entertaining, but at the same time, they were not what noted. But besides that, didn't have enough time to develop it and understand the characters even more because it was just 13 episodes. Now let's go to the next character called Duncan. Now, he is probably very unique in our cartoon world for one simple reason. He is a mute. He does not talk at all. He talks with his yo-yo using tricks or words he just spell out with his yo-yo. And also, he has a yo-yo because he's very good and this is 79, so it kind of makes sense. He's the generic silent type who doesn't talk, plays with yo-yos. That's everything you need for a character from the 90s. But besides that, they use him more kind of like a slipstock. I mean, slapstick. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. That kind of comic relief who breaks down, hits something, or something badass. The group needs to do something very unique in a certain situation. That's what Duncan Bendis basically is useful. And I'm super sorry I keep stuttering some reason. Anyway, besides that, you have a different other character called Emmett, basically the character who assists with UFOs, the government conspiracies. He basically is the nerd who into aliens. They're all mamas. He keep talking non-stop. That's his sort of generic type of character. But anyway, besides that, he does have layers. One of the biggest layers that he is sort of lonely because his dad never with him. He has daddy issues, but not the bad ways. And something that I think a lot of cartoons trying to make, oh, don't have a parent, that's why he's so mean or distant or obsessed with something. Usually that's the thing, and they may not really use that as an angle. You just use it as a way that I could be better than my father sort of angle. And that's sort of interesting for a character like Emmett. But once more, he is a very likable character. Basically with Katrina, who is obsessed with him. He has sort of a relationship. In fact, the whole series trying to make him a ship with Emmett and Kelly together for some reason. But all of that, he was okay character. Now our next one will be Jim. This kid is basically the original nerd, the one who says with comics. Yeah, I'm not joking or being over exaggerating what I mean. He's the original nerd because he has excessive Wikipedia of knowledge of DC Comics. Every little word, everything he says, every little detail him trying to compare or at least explain has to be comic book related. He actually mentioned Batman, the Joker, the Riddler, Two-Face. They use everything DC with this guy. He even referenced sort of comic books, but once more, I'm not a deep lore in comic books, so I'm not sure some of the issues he says is legitimately correct. But once more, you kind of enjoy this character. This character is what everybody wants to be when you're a kid, especially obsessed with comic books. He is basically the Wikipedia picture of comic book fandom, in other words. It's very enjoyable. He's not annoying. He doesn't really have a development character of this season. The fact how the twins, I said, they're also not yet fully developed. But once more, he's still enjoyable and likable. He's basically sort of the annoying character in the group. But once more, he has his useful in the group. Besides that, that's basically the whole cast, or at least the main people you see in the show. Now you also have the teacher, Miss Kakilia. How to describe her is simply the warden of detention. She's the one who is your God, your master, you're the great Messiah, because her word is her law and she loves it. She loves torturing this kid, but at the same time being just one noted. No, once more, we kind of give you more layers to a character because she has her moments. She put down her own shields and talk to the kids as the real people. She opens up. She could have fun as the kids, and that is sort of surprising because Miss Kakilia is an interesting military woman who likes to be disciplined and show the way of the rules, but kind of love her. She's sort of an asshole. When you get to know her, you really understand how she is. And I think that's wonderful, especially you can easily make her the evil villain on their group. But no, she is very likable and crazy sometimes, especially using Kitty as her little pet. And you see why I say her a little pet, because Kiss Kakilia tells her, you are my pet. You are my little plaything that when I tell you to do things, you do it. And that's the reason why I kind of like Kiss Kakilia, because she is an asshole. But I love it also. Sabrina calls her out every single time because her sass pisses Miss Kakilia off on time. Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny every time they have good chemistry with the teacher and the students, kind of butting heads non-stop. Yeah, I think that's the best to describe the series. It's just sort of funness and see these sort of characters sort of figure out how to get out of detention or accidentally go into detention unintentionally. But once more, the show is sort of great written. Yes, there's moments of especially 2 episodes, the pacing is sort of off. I mean, off is sort of boring because they couldn't think of wrapping the episode faster or written in a way that's entertaining, but only 2 episodes of the 13. Besides that, this show has 2 interesting things that it's very unique about this show. One of them is the fact every time they open a show, they open up with the point of view of one of the characters, using their imagination, how to get to know maybe more interesting of that character. The second more interesting thing is that they speak a lot of kind of Spanish. I mean, you think you focus on one character that is the only Latino character? No, everybody at least use one word of Spanish each single episode, even not the Latino character. They're just other characters. They know how to use Spanish words, and that sort of surprised me because this is very different. Because you very rare you see anyone using Spanish, only the Latino character. So that's what makes this show sort of very unique. Also, the transition to each scene also is very unique because they have a lot of thought to change to one scene to the other, and that's why this show is just sort of surprising, and the reason why it kind of sticks to my mind so long because it's kind of unique. But besides that, this series is quite enjoyable, especially if you like sort of Recess or The Weekenders. This show does deliver that high quality. It is entertaining, but unfortunately the series got canceled way too soon because you see it has potential, especially the other half of the 13 episodes. You see they finally found their footing, understanding the characters, how they use them, how they kind of switch and match the chemistry. Each one depends on the project or the homework, or there's something you want to get out of the school. You see now how much interested and deep you can actually be. But unfortunately, the series ends way too soon. You never gave a proper chance to get a season 2. We'll find another home to promote this series because it is certainly a shame wasn't given a second chance. But luckily, if you're a fan or you want to see the series, you can buy this on Amazon, the whole complete series, or you can find it on DVD in Target, possibly, well, if you could believe the internet. But you can find the full series. But you want to see at least a few episodes just to see is there anything interesting. There is some bootleg on YouTube, a few episodes. I mean, it is a 13 episodes. You can find me 3 or 4 around online, but still enjoyable. You can watch the whole series if you want to buy the whole DVD on Amazon. Besides that, I have one final question. Do you remember Detention? Do you feel nostalgia? You never heard of this show if you're not curious to actually want to see it. Tell me down below. I got nothing else to say. Just thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye.